We do expect to see the rupee depreciate further in the coming year, particularly if the US economy strengthens and the US dollar appreciates further.
Faraz, welcome back to Dukascopy TV. It's a pleasure to receive you again.
Pleasure. Thank you.
No problem at all. Okay, so let's jump straight in and we're taking a look at the Indian economy today. How would you characterize the health of the Indian economy at present?
Yeah, I think the economy still remains below potential at the moment. We've seen the external sector remains a drag on growth. Now, on the domestic front, we've seen a few green shoots. We've seen pockets of improvements. We've seen the government introduce the new bankruptcy laws, which will help improve growth and help improve the business environment. Also, we've seen record high FDI over the past year, so there certainly seems to be some sort of domestic momentum happening. However, there's still some crucial reforms that the government hasn't quite passed through yet, and we're not sure exactly when these will happen. And these are considered crucial to growth, particularly the goods and services tax and the land acquisition bill.
Now, in terms of that growth, JP Morgan are forecasting a slight slowdown in GDP growth to 7.2% for FY17. How does that line up with your own estimates?
Yeah, there's certainly some downside risk to growth next year. We're still seeing growth at around 7.5% for 2017. Now, we've seen a quite poor monsoon season over the last 2 years, which has been a drag on the rural economy. And the monsoon rains are forecast to improve next year, so we should see the rural economy or the agriculture sector improve over the next 12 months. We've also seen the export sector obviously been a drag on growth over the last year, and that should probably continue again through the year. So we don't really see a change. We don't really see a change in the economy over the 12 months. So we still see growth at around 7.5%.
And what role then does monetary policy play, and how are you seeing that sort of develop and evolve in the coming 6 months?
We think the inflation will crimp India's easing bias over the next 6 to 12 months. Food inflation particularly has spiked over the last year on the back of the poor monsoon rains, and consumer and wholesale prices last week were rising. Particularly CPI inflation was at 5.8%. Now, given the RBI's inflation target is for 5% by 2017 or early 2017, we see some limited scope for the central bank to move.
Now, I just wanted to finish up taking a look at the Indian rupee. Now, this has been the worst performer amongst those major Asian currencies this year. What is it that you think is holding the Indian rupee back? And also, what are some of your forecasts in terms of the short, mid and long-term period?
Sure. I think certainly the rupee has depreciated in 2016. But that comes from a period of relative strength in 2015, where the rupee was quite strong against the dollar, and other sort of Asian currencies were depreciating against the dollar. And we've seen the central bank maintain quite an easing bias, at least at the start of 2016. So it's been a little surprised that the rupee sort of come down with that. We do expect to see the rupee depreciate further in the coming year, particularly if the US economy strengthens and the US dollar appreciates further. So we do see a bit more room for the rupee to depreciate. But we don't see a sharp depreciation of the rupee over the next few years, given India's newfound macro stability. So we do see a steady depreciation.
Faraz, many thanks for your comments. Much appreciate the time today.
Thank you.
Faraz Syed there talking to Dukascopy TV about the future health of the Indian economy. That's all we've got time for right now. I'm Natalie MacDonald. You've been watching Sydney Direct on Dukascopy TV. Until next time, it's goodbye.